Good afternoon to all. This is Dr. K. Ramchandra Rao. So let us now look towards some of the ingredients which will construct to the path of microprocessor. So if I need to look with an aspect that I should use a microprocessor, then there are some ingredients which we need to look at where we can represent the data, etc. If such is a case is going to happen, then the very first composite of the things will be the number system. Will be the number systems. So if I want to put or bring the microprocessor as a scenario, the first and foremost thing what we can tender will be the number system. So when we are going to talk about a number system, the primitive item that we need to look will be the binary number system, then the decimal number system, third thing, the octal number system, and fourth one will be the hexadecimal number system. And there are some supporting items which are based on the fourth, we call it as binary, coded, decimal number system. So this is the first and foremost item. Before we are going to look into a microprocessor, the basic ingredient to take up the task of a microprocessor, the foreground knowledge what we need to acquire towards the microprocessor will be the first item, that is number system. When we are going to call this towards the number system, the radix or the base has to be noted down. When we are going to note it down the radix or base, then when we say it is a binary, we have only two digits, either high, either low, that is either 1 or 0. So the total number of elements in that number system we are going to call here as a base. Next, we have the decimal number system. When we are going to talk regarding the decimal number system, the objective will be with the words between 0 to 9. So we say 0 to 9, the total number of elements. So the total number of elements we are going to have total number of elements. The total number of elements we are going to have will be the decimal number system. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So total number of elements, there are 10. Now when we are going to call it as octal number system, then we are going to put the things of an octal number system in 8. As we are going to call it as an 8, so we do have 8 digits here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now the total number of elements we are going to interpret will be the 8. Fine. And the another number system which we purely or mainly work, will be the hexadecimal number system. When we are going to call it as an hexadecimal number system, then we are going to have the numbers as follows. A denotes 10, B denotes 11, C denotes 12, D denotes 13, E denotes 14, and F denotes 15. So there are 5 elements here. So that is the, A, B, C, D, E, F. Now between 10 to 15 here. And then we are going to have this total 15, but 0 is going to be added. So now we are going to have the total number of elements will be 16. Will be the 16 content. Now, the another foremost interesting item where the binary coded number system we will just discuss after the 4 in detail again. Now let us recollect a shortcut what we are going to put, that is 8421. So how we are going to get this 8421? One we are going to call it as 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 square and 2 cube. So why we are going to use these elements at this point of time, 8, 4, 2 and 1. 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 square and 2 cube, and then we have 2 power 16, 2 power 4, we are going to have the value as 16. So what is this shortcut indicating, etc. means? If I am going to have the elements as A, B, C, D, E and F, and I was mentioning the elements as 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. Now what I can do is I will put it in string of 4 bits. That is what we are going to call it as a hexadecimal number system. So we will be having the string of 4 bits. Every digit need to be represented. Every digit need to be represented. So that is the reason why we are going to use this shortcut 8421. Now I need to get the value of 10. So 8 plus 4 is equals to 10 and remaining I don't need. Now I need to get the value of 11. So 8 plus 2, 10 and 1, 11. So I get 1, 0, 1, 1. Similarly, if I'm going to put this elements for 12. So 8 plus 4 is 12. So we write 1, 1, 0, 0. 13, 8 plus 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13. So we have 1, 1, 0, 1. And the shortcut we can directly write in this model. But now when we are going to say 8 plus 4 is equals to 12, 12 plus 2 is equals to 14, 14 plus 1 is equals to 15. So now we get 1, 1, 1, 1 and that we are going to impose this with a F. So what did we mention? The thing was, if I am going to use a hexadecimal number system, then I am going to have 0 to 9 followed by A, B, C, D, E and F, and every digit has to be represented with a string of 4 bits. Okay, fine. Then how you are going to put the things in octal number system? At this case, we will ignore 8. We will take only 4, 2, 1 and we are going to put only the digits, and we are going to put only the digits in this form. So when we are going to put in this model, we will take only the string of digits. So here number of digits is equals to 3. So each element must be represented in string of 3 bits. Then only we are going to call the number system as octal number system. Fine. Now we were talking about the hexadecimal number system. We were talking about the hexadecimal number system. In hexadecimal number system, we mentioned that the things are going to be in string of 4 bits Then we were talking about the octal number system. In octal number system, we were mentioning that the every digit has to be polled in string of 3 digits. Then what is binary coded decimal number system? What is BCD here? So when we are going to call this element as a BCD, now the first and foremost element was each digit must be represented in string of 4 bits. So this is the first and foremost condition. Then minimum value was 0, maximum value was 0. So you do have a range between 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So minimum was 0, maximum was 9. But then what is hexadecimal number system? In hexadecimal number system, we were able to add A, B, C, D, E and F. So these are the 6 more elements which are going to be part of a hexadecimal number system. But these elements, we are not going to integrate this in the binary coded decimal number system. So if I want to write 786, so how I am going to represent 7, 8 means every digit must be represented in string of 3 bits, must be represented in string of 4 bits. So I have to write 8421, 8421, 8421. Then I have to put 7, I have to put 8, then I have to put 6. So how I will get 7? It is 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. How I am going to get 8? It is 1, 0, 0. How I am going to get 6? 1, 8, 4 plus 2 is equals to 6. And in this model, we are going to bring out the elements. In this model, we are going to bring out the elements in a very, very specific model. So what was the takeaway as of now? The first takeaway towards the microprocessor was we were talking about the first ingredient of the microprocessor that we are going to call it as a number system. So in number system, we have binary, we have decimal, we have octal and we have hexadecimal. Binary we represent with either 0 or 1. Decimal number system, it is a currency number system. I write 100 rupees, I take 400 rupees, I say 444 rupees. So in this way, whatever numeric values, what we are going to talk, what we are going to type in our mobile phone, what we are going to do it in our keyboard. So everything we are going to communicate with only the decimal number system. Then comes the octal number system and finally the hexadecimal number system. There are some integrated approaches which are going to be taken part. The very first integrated approach will be the binary coded decimal, binary coded octal, binary coded hexadecimal. So in this way we have multi-modal functionalities, but in general we will stick on to the binary coded decimal number system only. So this was the first key takeaway. As far as hexadecimal, it is going to have 0 to 15, and as far as octal, it is going to have 0 to 7. As far as binary coded decimal number system is concerned, we are going to take it is between 0 to 9. So this is all regarding the first key takeaway of looking towards the microprocessor. Fine. Next one, the very first word we need to have to talk about word length. So first ingredient, we talked about the number system. The next ingredient was we need to say what is the size of a microprocessor. So how many number of bits a microprocessor can use, that is whether it is 4-bit, 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit. So in this way, we are going to give the word length, right? Now, coming to the basics. Now, when I talk about word length, then I should have a first word called as a bit. When I'm going to talk about a bit, then the very first item we are going to say that it is either 0 or 1. Next one I am going to call byte. Then when I call it as a byte, we will write it as a definition string of 8 bits. We will call here as a string of 8 bits. After byte, we have half of a byte. So we will call it as nibble, N-I-B-B-L-E. So which we are going to call here as string of 4 bits. So after that, we are going to fix to a word. Word, it can be 32, it can be 64, so it can be 256. So it depends on the processor. It depends upon the processor. It can be 8, it can be 16, it can be 32, it can be 64. So in this way, we can have the size. Now, word length defines the number of bits in parallel a microprocessor will work. So this is the first and foremost thing. Now the answer was 8, 16, 32, 64. So it can be any of the things. So the second ingredient we were talking was the word length. So let us look into a scenario. So I open Amazon.com. I want to purchase a mobile phone. Then it says it is a quad core processor. It is an octa core processor. What is quad core? So when I'm going to call bit, byte, nibble. So nibble, it is 4 bits. Word, we are going to call it as 16 bits. Then we have quad core and we are going to have octa core. So now I'm going to work with 32 bits at a time. I'm going to work with 64 bit at a time. So what all these coming into the scenario? So when I purchase a mobile phone, first I will say whether it is a quad core processor, whether it is an octa core processor. So there will be some 8 cores in it, and each core is going to work 32 bits in parallel or 64 bits in parallel. So that is what we are going to look into the scenario. So that comes to the definition towards the word length. So how many number of bits a microprocessor can work in parallel? So that was the first way of looking at the word called as word length. After word length, next we should look on the basic hardware circuitry. We should look into the basic hardware circuitry. So when we are going to look into the basic hardware circuitry, the very first thing will come into our mind will be the capacitors. Next one, vacuum tubes, capacitors, transistors. And when these transistors, if they are 10, we call it as SSI. If they are less than 100, we call it as MSI. If it is less than 1000, it is called as LSI. And if it is less than 10,000, then we are going to call it as VLSI. So you know the terms. First one, we are going to call it as small scale integration. Second one, we will be calling it as middle scale integration. Third thing, we are going to call it as large scale integration. And the fourth one, we are going to call it as very large scale integration. So, we were talking about how a chip is made. We were talking about how a chip is made. Chip is designed with transistors. So this is the first key takeaway. How a mobile phone chip is made, how a hardware circuitry towards making a laptop or a desktop is made. So it is made of transistors. Transistors, they came in second generation computers. They came in second generation computers. That is in 1960s, transistors came into existence. That is at the second generation computers. But when it was towards the vacuum tubes or when it was towards the capacitors, then it was at the 1940s and 1950s where the first generation of computers happened. So at that time, the vacuum tubes and the capacitors, they were there, and there they used to make the electromechanical devices, Charles Babbage, etc. So these people, they did not directly go with the direct electronic component. They used the mechanical components, and there at that time, they used the vacuum tubes and capacitors. From the second generation computers onwards, the capacitors were replaced to transistors, and transistors, if they are made with 10, we call it as small, and the transistors, when they are made up of with less than 100, they are called as medium scale. Less than 1000, they are going to be called as large scale, and when it is towards 10,000 plus, then it became a very large scale integration country. So this was the basic circuitry of the microprocessor, right? So when we are going to talk about building a house, the very first thing, we should dig the earth, then we should put the foundation there, and that we are going to dump with some sand, etc. So in the same way, if we are going to talk about the microprocessor, the very root level elements, what we are going to talk, this is the basic foundation. So the very first foundation was vacuum tubes, then the capacitors, then the transistors, they came into existence, and then the number system will operate towards the way in which the transistors has to be used towards the circuitry. Fine. After that, transistors came, then the digital devices came into existence. Then the digital devices or components or the digital infrastructure came into the existence. So what was this digital here? Thus digital came with gates, came with flip-flops. So foundation is done. What was the foundation? Transistors, capacitors, transistors. This is the very root at the sand level, at the earth level. Then the next level, it was given, the next level was gates and flip-flops. From the gates, there came the combinational circuits. From the gates, there came the combinational circuits. From the flip-flops, there came the sequential circuits. There came the sequential circuits. So when it was sequential circuits, it went for RAM and ROM and the memory concept, entire thing, they were fabricated with the flip-flops, with the sequential circuits. But when it came towards the combinational circuits, the CPU started using these items, and when these items came into the elements, that is, when these items came into these elements, the very first item it looked was the buffer, followed by NOT gate, followed by AND gate, followed by NOR gate, followed by NAND gate, followed by XOR gate, followed by XNOR gate, So these are the different way of elements which came into existence, AND, OR, and NOR. So when I'm going to take an element A and then I want the same element, then what I will do is I will go with a buffer. I will go with a buffer. I will give value as 1. I get the value as 1. I will give the value as 0. I will get the value as 1. So whatever input I am going to give, the same output has to be erased. So then we are going to call that element as a buffer. But if I am going to use a NOT gate, then the diagram was to put a bubble before the gate, and I can call it as X and this one as Y. And if I'm going to feed these elements X and Y, now I will write the circuit diagram Y is equals to some X bar. So at this point of time, if I give 0, answer is 1. If I give 1, answer is 0. So we talked about buffers, we talked about NOT gate. Then when we are going to have the elements with A and B and we get 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. So if this is the point of thing, if this is the point of item what we are going to focus. So first one we are going to call it as AND gate. Next one we will call it as OR gate. So the value will be A into B, value will be A plus B. And the way of putting the things will be 2 inputs and 1 output. The way of putting the outputs towards OR will be 2 inputs and 1 output, and it will be A into B, right? So I will be getting 0, 0, 0, 1. And if any one is okay, then we can go with this element. So that's the reason why we are going to pull out these elements. So coming to the definition part. So we have given the value, we have given the expression A star B, we have given the expression A plus B, we have given the circuit diagram for AND gate, we have given the circuit diagram for the OR gate. Then what is the way we have to interrupt the answer? So we do have 0, 0, 0, and we have only one true condition. So the definition for an AND gate, if both inputs A and B are high, then only the answer is high. But when coming to the definition of an OR gate, so what will be the definition of OR gate is when both inputs are low, answer is low. If any one of them is high, or if both of them are high, then the diagram for this OR gate will be 1, 1, 1. So after OR gate, we have N, which stands for negation. We call it as NAND gate. Then we do have another way, that is NOR gate. So in this model, the expression will be A plus A into B whole complement, and the negation of OR gate, therefore we will be getting the vice versa answers. So we are going to put a bubble at this position, therefore we are going to get the complement. So obviously we can write the alternate diagrams, alternate values here. So we get this 1 1 1 0, and thereby we can write this as 1 0 0. So this is regarding the two elements, that is regarding the OR gate. After that, another two important way of looking the things will be the XOR gate and XNOR gate. So XOR gate, we will put A plus star B, that's we call it as A bar B plus B bar A. And when we are going to put this in an XNOR format, we have to get the complement of these two items, that is we say AB plus A bar B bar. So in this model, what we can do was the truth table values will be 1 0 0 0 1, and the complement will be with 0 1 1 and 0. So at this point of time, we will double highlight the things, and then we will go up with the values, and this is how we are going to put the values. So I think this is wrong here. We will change this. Erase the 4 contents. So the values here are, so either anything is high, it is high, except these two, it will be a vice versa. Fine. Now these gates will be the integral component toward building the microprocessor. So just a quick recap, what we have taken up. We talked about the number systems, then we talked about the word length, then we talked about the digital components, where we talked about the gates. After gates, then we will work with the combinational circuits. After gates, we need to have a quick recap on combinational circuits. That's, we call it as decoder, then we will have an encoder, then we will have a multiplexer, and followed by demultiplexer. Once we are going to approach this value, now decoder, we have n inputs, then we will be getting 2 power n outputs. Encoder, we have 2 power n inputs and 2 power n outputs. So we have encoder, we have 2 power n inputs and n outputs. As we have this multiplexer is going to be concerned, it will take up 2 power n as an input and generate only one output. Similarly, if we are going to work with a demultiplexer, then we will be having one input, and thereby it will be directed to 2 power n outputs. That is, I have 2 inputs, I have 4 outputs. If I am going to have 3 inputs, then I will be getting 8 outputs. Similarly, if I am going to use an encoder, I'll be getting the opposite way of putting the things for a decoder, that is 4 cross 2 or 8 cross 3. Similarly, if we are going to work with a multiplexer, then we say 2 square to 1, 2 cube to 1. So in this way, we are going to put the select lines towards drawing up the multiplexer. And when coming to the demultiplexer, we have the elements as 1 into 2 square and another as 1 into 2 cube. So this is how the combinational circuits, they are going to use these values. So after combinational circuits, we do have the sequential circuits. In this sequential circuits, the very first important thing will be the register, followed by, after registers, we will be having the word called as counters, thereby flip-flops. So the another ingredient towards bringing up the microprocessor and its components will be the sequential circuits. So we have a register which we are going to call it as a temporary storage location. So it can be of 8-bit, it can be of 16-bit, it can be of 32-bit, so whatever value it is. Similarly, I have lot of counters, so ring counter, up top down counter, bottom up counter, so countings. So it is going to have timers and all, and it is going to count number of bits. So you do have ripple counter, you have top down counter, you have bottom up counter, we do parallel communication. So all these aspects, they are going to be bring up with these counters. After counters, we do have another interesting aspect which we are going to call it as flip-flops. So flip-flops, they are going to store 1 bit of information. They are going to store 1 bit of information. So only 1 bit of information is going to be stored per one location, right? So if I'm going to have 8 bits, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So it can be 0, 0, whatever it is. So 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. So it is going to store only 1 bit, 1 bit, 1 bit, 1 bit, 1 bit. It can be either high, it can be either low. So whatever it is. So we are going to bring up these flip-flops. They are going to save either high, or they are going to store either low, either high. They are going to store only 1 bit of information and can be stored in parallel to form a word. That it can be 8-bit, it can be 4-bit, it can be 16-bit. So in this way, we are going to bring up the words of the flip-flop. So in general, flip-flops, we do have D flip-flop, we have RS flip-flop, JK flip-flop, and T flip-flop. So these will be the basic words towards bringing up the memory architecture. So all these, they are used to design memory. It can be the random access, or it can be read-only memory, or the secondary storage devices, that it can be C drive, D drive, etc., or the hard disk or the flash drive. So whatever it is. So where you have your memory cards in your mobile phone, that is what made up of flip-flops, right? You have your hard disk, C drive, D drive, E drive, F drive. So all that, they are made up of D, RS, JK or T flip-flops, and they can have support of clock, and they can have the support of synchronization and timing. So when it is with clocked, we say clocked JK, we say clocked RS, we say clocked T, clocked D. So it is going to be synchronized with a clock value. So that is where the clocked flip-flops are going to occur. So the basic foundation, the basic sand below the microprocessor. So if I want to say I'm going to begin with a microprocessor, I should look into the basic foundations to the pillar. So the very first foundation was we should have a glimpse of number system, binary, decimal, octal and hexadecimal system. Then we should understand how many number of bits in parallel a microprocessor can at a stretch work. It can be 8, 16, 32 or 64. Thereby each is made up of some basic circuitry with vacuum tubes, capacitors or transistors, etc. And then it is going to be fabricated with digital devices with gates and flip-flops. If it is a gates, it can be AND gate, buffer, OR gate, NOT gate, NAND gate, XOR gate and XNOR gate. And if it is a combinational circuit towards building up the central processing unit, it has the encoder, it has the decoder, it has the multiplexer, and it do has the demultiplexer. And then if it is going to deal with the memory part to store for temporary storage of data, then it is going to have a circuitry towards building up the registers, building up the counters, and towards the flip-flops. And flip-flops we have with the timing and synchronization with clocks towards D, JK, RS and T. So these are some of the key takeaways of the word towards the microprocessor. So when we are going to define it as a microprocessor, now the central processing unit with ALU and CU, that is the arithmetic logic unit and control unit. So these two elements, they are going to build up the microprocessor. That's all. So these two elements, they are going to bring up the microprocessor. So if I'm going to say it is a microprocessor, we are going to call that one as a central processing unit. So this central processing unit, it is going to have the arithmetic logic unit and it is going to have the control unit. Remember, there is no memory inside a microprocessor. I am repeating, microprocessor does not have memory. Random access memory, read-only memory, hard disk, pen drive, all are different. They are not part of the central processing unit. Maybe this is there is a boynet, in that all are put together. But when I'm going to talk about a chip is going to be the central processing unit, and this it is going to have arithmetic unit and control unit. That is all for definition towards the microprocessor. So microprocessor, it is going to be built on a single chip, and that chip it is going to have with a arithmetic logic unit and a control unit. So